All right, it's the 28th of April. It's a Monday, and we have just over 30 minutes to the NY Open. Let's go to the charts. Yeah, good. Okay, so let's start with the calendar as usual. So this is NFP week. Sorry. Yeah, this is NFP week. But today and tomorrow there is no news. At least not in the first couple of hours of the NY Open. There is no news. Um, but Wednesday, Thursday, Friday there are news events, and on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all 3 days, we're going to wait till 8:30, probably 8:15 a.m. EST to take a trade, because we have news at 8:15 a.m. EST, and then on Thursday and Friday, 8:30 a.m. EST, we have news. Don't worry about these timings. That's my local time. Um, it's 8:30 a.m. EST on Thursday, Friday. We're going to look for setups, and tomorrow on Wednesday around 8:15, starting from 8:15, right? Starting from 8:15 on Wednesday, 8:15 a.m. EST, and then starting from 8:30 a.m. EST on Thursday, Friday, and Friday is the big one. That's NFP. So today is the first day of the week. We're going to take a look at the charts now, the high time frames, and do our prep work. Um, okay. Let's take a quick look at how the weekly candle ended. Now, the reason I started the stream just a couple of minutes earlier today is because I want to talk about Friday's analysis, prediction, and the trade we took. Right, three things that I want to discuss. I want to do a recap on what happened on Friday. So on Friday, the candle closed a strong bearish candle. It was strong bearish, but we pushed back up, right? And we closed almost like a doji. But that's a rejection from still a rejection, a clear rejection from 3450. So the actual trading volume, the main trading volume, if you just look at the weekly candle on a very high time frame, is about 100 and within about 170 pips, right? 160, 170 pips. But there was a high that was created and there was a low that was created. And that was the majority of the trading happened within a range. And we saw that on Wednesday, Thursday, even on Friday, we saw that, right? Now, on Friday, okay, before we go to the analysis on Friday, let's look at what's happening, what could happen today. So the weekly candle has closed bearish. Today's weekly candle has already moved 700 and what 740 pips, so almost 700 pips, right? So there's a lot of volume in the market, and we've almost come down to fill the wick already. We haven't filled it yet, but we've come considerable way down to fill the wick, right? Because that's a range to trade into, and that's exactly what happens when it leaves a big wick. The next candle has a range to trade into, and that's exactly what's happened. Because we have a lot of bearish volume right now, right? It's not buys, it's bears, right? It's not bullish volume, it's bearish volume. Now, on Friday, what did we predicted the weekly candle close, right? And we do that every Friday, right? We try to predict. I try to predict the weekly candle close. So I said one of two things is going to happen. Either the candle is going to close above three. I think the level was 3286. I think we've adjusted it to 3289. So we're going to close above 3289 or 3286 or below that level, right? So it's going to be, in both scenarios, it's going to be a bear candle that's going to close. It's going to be a weekly bearish candle, but either it's going to close below this level 3289 or 3286 or above it, right? If it's going to close bearish, if it's going to close below it, then the daily candle would need to continue to push down, right? And we could look for sells in the first couple of hours of the NY session and look to take those sells coming down, and price could then either continue down or the sells could work and then range, and the daily candle could close below this level right here, right? That was one scenario. The second scenario was price could close, the weekly candle could close above this level, right? And for that to happen, price would still have to push down to grab liquidity, and then in the second half of the NY session, push back up for this to close a doji, or for this for price to come back up and close a weaker bearish candle, right? Instead of a strong bearish candle under this level, under 3289. The level that we had on Friday was 3286. So I've just gone up by it's gone up by 30, just $3, right? Okay. So what happened on Friday? So this is the trade that we took. We took sells. This was a trade that we took. We took sells around here. I took sells up here as well, and sells around here. And price came. These were the TP levels: 3287, 3277, 3267, and then if there is more volume further down to 3257. But we didn't get there. We got to these three TP levels, and I took a trade somewhere up here. That was about a 330, 340 pip trade with a very small stop loss. Now, I'd given ideas how to manage risk, right? Your safer stop loss is always above the liquidity candle. That would be above this candle. Obviously, we're not going to have a stop loss, a 200 pip stop loss. That is why these levels were marked 3298.3 and 3299. So if any of those highs break, that's where you manage risk. If soon as price breaks one of those highs, you close partial positions, and if a 15-minute candle closes above one of these levels, then you close everything, right? If you watch the first, I think probably about 30-40 minutes of the stream, you'll understand the analysis pretty clearly. Now, after price came, it came through, went through these TP levels, and it came to 3265, which is a weekly SR level, and also a liquidity candle here, right? Price came to a liquidity candle. Let's go back to the 30-minute time frame. That's a liquidity candle that has been tapped already once. It came twice. And when it came here, it tapped it perfect. It didn't hang around. We spoke about this on Friday. We spoke about this almost every day last week, right? I said, if price comes to a decision point, if it's either a daily support level or a daily resistance level or a daily supply zone or a daily demand zone, if it comes there, and if that level is to work, price will react to it almost instantly within the first couple of hours, right? And price will push back up. And that's so if it comes to so we had created a daily support here. There's a bear candle and a bull candle here. So there's a daily support zone there. Price came there and we formed a 30-minute support, and price pushed all the way back up 600 plus pips, right? 630 plus pips all the way back, right? It didn't linger there. It didn't hang around there. And I said, if price does hang around a decision area, like a high time frame decision area, either a demand zone like this, then if it hang around that area for a long time, you start to see price range, right, at one of those, at either demand zone, a high time frame demand zone, or a high time frame support level or resistance level. And when I say high time frame, I mean the daily time frame, right, or even the weekly. If it starts to range in that area, it's very likely that price is going to go through that area, right? So here in the example, we saw price come down. It ranged here for many hours. If you go back to the 4-hour time frame, if you look at this level 3329, if you see here, price ranged a lot, right? And what happened? Price went through, right? 3329, we went down all the way down. From here, that was about 800 pip drop, right? If it comes and it doesn't range, immediately reacts, then it's going to grab liquidity and go in the opposite direction. Now, we are back at an area that's again support, daily support. Price is ranging in that area. So what's likely to happen? That price is very likely to go through that area, right? Just a second. Yeah, so price is very likely to go through this area. And I hope my audio is clear. Is very likely to go through, right? Because we've been ranging. If you look at the 4-hour time frame, Look at that. Price is ranging. If it wanted to push up, it should have done that by now. We're ranging. So it's very likely the price is going to go through. Maybe today, maybe tomorrow. We don't know. Okay. Now, just want to talk about this. So when this 30-minute support formed, there were possible buys because we've tapped a liquidity candle, and I said one of two things can happen. The weekly candle can close below this level 3289 or above it. If it's above, then the daily candle will need to push down and go back up, right? And that's exactly what happened. Price came down, right? In the NY session, we tapped a liquidity candle, formed 30-minute support. You could have drawn the fib here, the way I draw it, and taken the trade and went all the way up again. That was a very good trade. Okay. All right. So let's just get rid of all of these. Okay. I just want to see if levels are correct. 3367, 329, 289, 329, 289. 329, 289, 265, 230, 30, 230. Yeah, we're good. All right, let's begin. Okay, so we have let's start with supply, right? We have a rally and we have a massive drop. A single candle, almost a 600 pip, 580 pip candle, 4-hour candle. So we have a huge drop here. Let's start by marking that area out. Let's go down to the 1-hour time frame. The reason I'm going down to the 1-hour time frame is because we need to find the zone, plus also we need to price has tapped a weekly SR level. So whenever price goes through a level, you need to come to that area through either weekly SR level or a BRN and look on the lower time frame, right? Just 1 second. Yeah. Now we have a price gapped up, 75 pips, not much. Yeah, maybe this is how we're going to have to draw it. A rally, that would be the basin candle, and then the drop. Yeah, that would be the, yeah. Because that would be a candle here, ideally, an invisible candle here. And this would be the basin candle because this has more collective wick than body. So 114 pip wick. Yeah, so definitely more wick in this than body, right? So this would be the basin candle. Let's put the numbers on that. 754, 54, 7328. All right. Now, there is also a drop and a base and a drop here. And that's also near a weekly SR level and a BRN. So we're going to take a look at that also. We're going to mark it here on the 4-hour, since it's visible on the 4-hour. Drop, base, drop. And then take a look at it on the 1-hour. Yeah, so there is a perfect base there. That's a rally, a base, and a drop. Let's take a look at it on 30-minute as well. Yeah, I would draw it like this. This is better. This would be the leg in. All of these are basin candles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 basin candles and the drop. Let's put the numbers on that. Open 074, 74095. Okay. And now, this is good. I'm going to just extend this to the right. Price hasn't tapped that yet. 754. Just extend these to the right. Yeah, that's good enough. Okay. Right, so that's supply covered. Let's just take one last look at it. There is a zone here as well. Hmm. Yeah, that's okay. I'm not going to take a trade here anyway. When you have 3,300, unless it's deeper in the zone. That's fine. That's fine. That's. But what you can do is that's better. It's wider, but it's better. Yeah, yeah. I'm going to consider this as the leg out. This is a bigger candle moving out than this small candle, right? So this is the leg out, and all of these candles in between are basin candles. That's better. Open 266, close to 6. Yeah, yeah, that's much better. Yeah, that's a 4-hour zone, and this is a 1-hour zone. I'm going to keep it as a 4-hour zone because there is a rally, a drop, a base, and a drop. So it's a 4-hour zone as well. All of these are 4-hour zones. Okay, let's take a look at demand now. So we have on the 4-hour, a we have a couple of reactions. We have a source here, right? That's based, I think, on the 1-hour. Then we have a reaction. We have new demand that was formed here. Price came back and formed demand again and gone up. The price has come and tapped it again, right? So that's several times. It's tapped this area. Just on the 4-hour candles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 times. So very likely going to go through this. Again, remember this, what we spoke about. When a price, this is a daily support level, right? Price came the first time, pushed back, what, 650, 630 pips? It pushed up, right? It didn't hang around. I think within the first 30 minutes of price tapping that area, it created 30-minute support, pushed back up 630 pips. Now we've come there and we've been there for, look at the 1-hour time frame. We're at that area, 3289, 3289. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 hours we've been in that area. 9 hours, right? That's just today. We've been there today for 9 hours. Very likely going to break through. Okay, so we have, okay, we'll have to draw this on the 1 hour. Yeah, something like that. Drop base rally, maybe on the 30 minutes might be better. Yeah, yeah. I'm going to use that most recent demand level, right? Drop base rally. Look at the 15 minute. Yeah, there's nothing on the 15. It's 30 minute. You can even bring it to the base of this candle, but I'm going to keep it to the 30 minute. I'm going to use this 30-minute candle as the start of the base. So 849. That's the liquidity candle that has been tapped several times. And this is what's left of that zone, 1 hour zone. Let's just bring this down a bit. Okay. Yeah, that's good. Okay. So that's the closest demand. Okay. This demand is based on the 1 hour. We have a drop and a rally here. So it's 1 hour demand. Then we just extend these to the right. These are layer zones that were drawn last week. I'm not going to redraw them now. Remember what I always say about having liquidity candles very close to each other, yeah? When price, because they've been tapped on the way up, when price on the way down, when it taps one, it's very likely going to go through uh, two of those liquidity candles. Okay, yeah, that's good enough. Just bring this across. Okay, that's good enough. We've covered about 900 pips to the downside, 800 pips to the upside, 850 pips to the upside. That's good enough because our average daily range is over 1,000 pips a day, right? Um, that's become the new norm for gold. A lot of volume. Okay, let's just clean this up a bit. All right, so let's see what we have. Okay, so we have two new zones here, right? And we have this zone here. This is a tap demand zone, okay? Several times. Let's take a look at these zones and see if they're high liquidity zones. So here, there is a the 30-minute time frame, we identified a rally base and a drop. Has it taken out anything to the left? No, it hasn't. Mm, well, if you consider this demand rally, base rally, yeah, it did take out this low. So yeah, this is a rally, two basin candles and a rally, and then this candle, this wick took out those lows. So that's a high liquidity zone. And then this took out this demand here, rally base rally. This push down took out that, so that too is a high liquidity zone, right? And then this one is no longer a high liquidity zone because it's been tapped several times, right? There is a, sorry, there's a, yeah, yeah, okay. Yeah, that's a liquidity candle right there, right? That has been tapped. This high is 66.95, 32.66.95, and that's been tapped once, twice, right? It's been tapped. Very likely we come back, we're going to go right through it. Okay. All right. Now, let's look for liquidity candles. Let's look at this area and see if there is a liquidity candle. Let's start in from the 1 hour time frame. Okay. Largest bear candle. Nothing on the 1 hour. 30-minute. That one right there. Let's start with that. Okay, let's go to the 15-minute time frame. Yeah, that's definitely the candle. Right there, 132 pip candle. Let's take a look at it on the 5-minute as well. Yeah, there we go. 5-minute candle, perfect. Perfect. When it's sometimes it makes it's very easy. You just spot it very easy. 109 pip candle. 946846. 946846. Okay, that's a liquidity candle. Let's go above. Largest candle would be this. That's a 340 pip zone. So we might have two liquidity candles in there. Got to remember that when the zone is larger, you might have two liquidity candles in there. There's a big move here, 246 pips. $177, 219, 15-minute, 109, 98, oh, 111. Yeah, we'll have to put the numbers on this, I think. 108. Yeah, it's this one, 110. That's 100. Let's look at the 5-minute. There's nothing on the 5-minute. Yeah, it's this one. You can see the tap there. When price taps a level, then you know that you marked the right candle. 154040. 0. Okay. Right. Now, up here, we have another liquidity candle. Right? We have to mark that. When a zone is this big, it's very possible to have two liquid. Very, very possible. And of late, we've been having massive zones because we have 1,000 pip days almost every day. 754642. 546. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. See the tap here? Liquidity candle tap and then a drop, and we created a new one and tried to come back in. Okay. Right. And then we have a liquidity candle up there. Okay, good. So we've got liquidity areas. Let's take a look at this area because we have new demand form there, even though it's a reaction, right? It's the third reaction to this area. We still have to look at that area and see if there's a liquidity candle in there, in this newly formed area. Right now, there's this big wick. That's a liquidity wick. That's a 168 pip wick from a liquidity candle and from a weekly SR level. So we're going to mark that out. And let's go to the 30-minute time frame. That's nothing on the 30-minute. That's 190. That's possibly the one. Let's go to the 15. Yeah. Yeah. 145. Yeah. Let's go to the 5-minute. Yeah, there we go. That's the candle. That one right there. 744. All right, that's it. Right on time. So this is the NY Open. Okay, so we have a liquidity candle here. We have all of these liquidity candles, right? Let's take a quick look at what price has done in the Asian and London sessions. Okay, just save this. Okay, this is the market open. So the market opened at 3326. Yeah, we're definitely coming down. Or we could be ranging. 16. So 199. So 2. 095. All right, NY session is open. Let's take a look at what price has done. In the Asian session, price has moved 500 pips, and in the London session, we've moved inside the Asian range 230 pips. Okay, that's what's happened. So to take a closer look, we were bullish NY session, and price went all the way up, tapped 3329. That's a weekly SR level. We rejected that area. It was too, the gold was too expensive there. We created a 30-minute liquidity candle here. That's a 30-minute liquidity candle. And price pushed down, came back, tapped the liquidity candle, created the Asian high, dropped further down, created a liquidity candle on the way down, came back up, couldn't get up there. We were very bearish. Price came through this, went all the way down to this liquidity candle that it had created on Friday. Went right to the end of it, right? So there is no liquidity left in this zone. Pay attention to what I'm saying. There is no liquidity left in this zone. Price has gone right to the bottom of it. We haven't gone through it, but it's very unlikely that there is any liquidity left in this zone, in this candle, right? Price has gone all the way down. Then we pushed all the way back up above 3289, ranged there a bit, went tapped 3300, tapped the liquidity candle to the pip. You can see that we've tapped it to the pip, this liquidity candle right here. We tapped it here, pushed back to 3289, ranged. We create, so on the there we create, once it tapped, created the London high, then tapped 3289, closed below 3289, tapped it again on the way up and came down, tapped the liquidity candle, created the London low, right? And we've been bouncing up and down there, right? So for the last 9 hours, we've been around 3289, right? Now, here's what I want to see happen. Do we have 30-minute? We have no 30-minute resistance formed in pre-NY. Okay, so it's very straightforward. Here's what very straightforward. Here's what I want to see happen. Okay, I want to see 30-minute resistance created. I want to see price can tap this, the London high, close above, close back below, it doesn't matter. It can do whatever it wants, but I want to see 30-minute resistance, a tradable 30-minute bear candle, and price to reject the London high. If it does, that's a trade that I can take wherever inside this liquidity candle to come down first to maybe 3289, take some partial positions there, and then let it run down here, and then further down to the Asian low and 3265, right? That's what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for buys, right? I'm not looking for buys. We've created support well before pre-NY, right? And we are in supply. So for those two reasons, I'll give you all the reasons why I'm not looking for buys. Price is bearish. The weekly candle is bearish. Strong rejection at the top, even though it closed the doji. The daily candle has closed the previous daily candle or Friday's candle closed below 3329. We are ranging at a decision level. That's daily support. We've been ranging there for the last 9 to 10 hours, right? And we've tapped this area many times, 3 or 4 times, right? We'll count how many times exactly. 33829. We've come here. 30-minute time frame is the best to see it. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the 5th time we're going to go through. Okay, pay attention to what I'm saying. The 5th time, we've tapped it 4 times. On the 5th time, very likely we're going to go through. The next time price comes here, we're going to go very likely going through. So when you're taking, if you do get in on sells and you're taking partial positions, don't take out a lot here, right? Take out 10%, 20%. and hold for TP levels down here, right? Maybe around this 30-minute support, the Asian low, 3265. Those are areas you can take more partial positions at, right? You can take off, you can take positions off your trade, right? If you do get in on sells, if we do getting on sells, that's a big if. Let's see, because it's a Monday, we don't want to force a trade, but for those reasons, for everything that I mentioned, I'm not looking for buys. I'm looking for sells because we are in supply. We've been ranging here for a very long time, very likely to break, right? We've tapped this area 4 times already. Uh, Price is below the EMAs, right? Um, yeah, for all those 4 reasons, I'm not looking for buys, I'm looking for sells, right? But what I want to see, what I visualize is, I want to see 30-minute resistance created, either from this liquidity candle or or a tap at 3,300 or the liquidity candle above, right? Any one of those liquid levels are fine. This, 1, 2, 3. In fact, we have a price has gone above this EMA, right? But we have one EMA here, that's a liquidity level. The liquidity candle that price is right now in, that's a liquidity level. 3,300 is a liquidity level, that's 3. The liquidity candle above that is a liquidity level, that's 4. And then we have another one above here, which is 5. And a weekly SR level here, which is 6. Okay, so wherever price reacts to, I'm okay with that. I just need to see 30-minute resistance form, a tradable 30-minute candle close, and ideally a rejection of the London high. To me, that seals the deal, right? Where I can look for a pullback, take the sells to come down back to this liquidity candle. That's the plan. But until the 30-minute resistance forms, I'm doing nothing. I hope that's clear. If anything of what I've said is unclear, anything that we've discussed so far is unclear, ask questions now, right? Ask it on the chat. I'll do my best to answer. So we've tapped this liquidity, this one as well, right? These are areas of liquidity, right? So EMAs is an area, is one of the 5 key areas of liquidity, right? We've tapped the first one, we reacted to it, but that was pre-NY, and 30-minute resistance did not form. See why we wait for 30-minute resistance? If you took a trade there, you're in heavy drawdown. 50-minute resistance was formed, but not 30-minute resistance. When prices range in like this, we've been ranging for the last 9 hours, right? 9 hours, okay? Around 3289. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 hours. We've been ranging for 10 hours, right? When price is ranging, you want to wait for 30-minute support or 30-minute resistance. I've said this over and over again in the streams, right? The only time where we can look for 15-minute support or resistance is when price is trending heavily, right? Far away from the EMAs, when price is well away, right? Let's say 300 pips, 400 pips away from the EMAs, or even more, right? 500 pips away from the EMAs. That's when you can start, when you can wait for 15-minute support or resistance to form. Right, so we wait. Price has tapped that area, tapped the EMA, and we are having a reaction. We are having a reaction to it. Now we got to wait because we're waiting for 30-minute resistance to form. That's it. It's very straightforward. I've explained everything, I think, as clearly as I can. And I've said why I'm looking for sells, why it is sells and it's not buys. I've explained that. And I've also now said what I want to see to take sells, right? I want 30-minute resistance, a tradable 30-minute back candle to close, and a rejection of the London high. So it doesn't need to tap the London high. It can form it here. It still means it's rejecting the London high. If it closes above, that's fine too, but then a candle needs to close back below for us to take sells, right? Okay. Again, any questions, anything you're unclear on anything, feel free to drop a question in the chat. I'll do my best to answer. Okay, I'll be back in about 3-4 minutes. We've got about 12 and a half minutes for the 30-minute candle to close, so I'll be back in about 3 to 4 minutes. Okay, we're pushing through. Pushing through. We've tapped 3,300. Probably pushing through further. It doesn't matter how high price goes. So we have broken past this liquidity candle now, right? And we've tapped 3,300. This liquidity candle, where is it on the 5-minute? Yeah, this candle right here, right? And we've tapped the next liquidity candle. So this high is 049. And this liquidity candle ends at, yeah, we've tapped this liquidity candle right here, this one. So now we can get rid of this one, right? Because we've gone through it. So that liquidity candle has no longer has any more liquidity because price has gone through the liquidity candle and tapped the next one. So we can get rid of that liquidity candle. The zone is still holds because the zone high hasn't been broken yet. And even if it does break the high, you still got to keep the zone because if a candle closes back below, that means that zone is still working, right? So just because as soon as a candle breaks the high of a zone, you don't delete the zone. You don't delete a supply zone. Or if it breaks the low of a demand zone, you don't immediately delete the demand zone. You keep the zone because you can always have a candle in this here. You can have a candle close above the zone and then close back inside zone, right? That means the zone is still valid. So until you have maybe two 30-minute candles close above, right? So one closes, then another one closes. That's when you can delete the zone. So we've broken this high now. We've broken the high. The zone's been broken, but we got to keep it. Stay on the 30-minute time frame because we're waiting for 30-minute resistance. 2 minutes more for the candle to close. So this candle is very unlikely going to close a bear candle. We'll have to wait for the next candle, the next 30-minute candle to close. It's Monday, so expect a lot of waiting if you are to take a trade. Otherwise, you can always just watch the charts today, play it, stay on the sidelines, and look, focus on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Those are your big days. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. All right, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday this week. It's not all every week because we have news events on Fridays NFP. We could be coming down the next on the high time frame. If you let's go to the weekly. On the weekly time frame, we could be coming down here. Right? That's another 2,100 pip drop. That's very easy to do. Candles are doing 1,000 pips a day, so that pretty much can be done in a couple of days. Uh, Anything from 2 days to a week can take to come down here, if it is to come down. The low time frames will tell us if it's coming down or not. But on the weekly time frame, we could be coming down to 3,100, 3086, 3055, 3086, 3055, those areas, right? That's a decent drop. That's on the weekly. On the daily, we have some levels to get through before we come here to 3086, 3055. Yeah, definitely around 3055. You can see the tap there, tap here. So 3055 is a possibility. That's a 2,400 pip move. Once we get here, if price begins to range here, same concept, high time frame. If this is a decision level, rally, base, rally, daily demand level. That's a decision area. Once price gets there, in the first hour or 2 hours, if we have 30-minute support form, then we are going and a tradable 30-minute bull candle close, we're going up again, right? Up to another liquidity area, not up forever, but up to another liquidity area, right? Up to the next liquidity area until it finds enough liquidity to go in the opposite direction. If price comes here to 3230 around that area and begins to range, then it's more likely that price is going to go through this zone. Okay, 30-minute candle closed above the zone, above the zone, above the London high, no top wick. Interesting, very interesting. Closed above the zone, that's the zone high, right there. This candle high is the zone high. This candle high is also the London high. So we closed above the zone and the London high, but no top wick. Now, if you do get a 30-minute candle here, a bear candle close, we form resistance and a tradable bear candle closes below the London high. Remember, the safer stop loss is above the liquidity candle high, right? That is always the conservative safe stop loss, not wherever you think it should be. That's the safer stop loss. But obviously, you can't take a stop loss with 120 pips or 150 pips or 200 pips. That makes no sense for low risk, high IRR trading. That is why we draw a line. We look for 15-minute support or resistance or 30-minute support or resistance, a key level. Basically, we look for a key level in this vicinity after 30-minute resistance is created, right? Not before, after it's created. We look for a level and we put a line there. That's our, I don't want to call it stop loss, but that's our level of risk management. So as soon as that candle, that level high breaks, you close partials. If a 15-minute candle closes above it, then you close everything, right? That's how it works. But your mental hard stop loss, if 30-minute resistance forms, if a tradable 30-minute bear candle closes, two ifs, your mental hard stop loss is always above the liquidity candle high, right? So that's this 15-minute candle high. That's where your stop loss is. Again, if anything is confusing, this is the time to ask. If you're unsure about anything that I've discussed, you want more clarity on anything, now is the time to ask your questions. So that's 1 hour demand. That's whatever's left of 1 hour demand. Yeah. It's got to wait. 24 minutes for the 30-minute candle to close. You have to wait. If you look at the 15-minute candles, there is volume. This was the NY open. See, 37 pips, right? Much less than the previous NY open candles last week. Much less. 37, right? That's no volume. To me, that's no volume. It's got to be 45 or above. And then the next candle, 93. There's volume. But obviously, we're not buying and we can't sell because we have no confirmation. So you got to wait. But there is volume. This candle is showing that there is volume, but you got to wait now. 8.5 minutes for the 15-minute candle to close. And then we have to wait for another 15 minutes because we need the 30-minute candle to close. And the close of the 30-minute candle will also be the close of the 1 hour candle. So let's see how this 1 hour candle is going to close, right? The close of the 30-minute candle will also be the close of the 1 hour candle. If it closes bearish, then we are probably gonna, we might have a chance for looking for sells. But it's got to close a tradable 30-minute bear candle, not a doji. A bearish doji can create resistance, but you can't trade off that candle. We need a tradable 30-minute bear candle to close. And if you're wondering what do I mean by a tradable 30-minute bear candle, if you're new to the streams, you've not seen us take trades here on the streams, and you don't know what that means, you probably know what support or resistance means, but you don't know what a tradable 30-minute candle means, right? It's this. So just if you go, right? These are tradable 30-minute bull candles, right? That's a bullish engulfing candle, a bullish rejection candle, a bullish expanded range candle, and a bullish pin bar, right? Any one of those four. Then if you're looking for bear candles, bearish engulfing candle, a bearish rejection candle, a bearish expanded range candle, or a bearish pin bar, right? These are in retail trading terms, candles, right? So when I say a tradable 30-minute bear candle, I mean one of these candles, either this, this, this one, or this one, right? Or engulfing, or a clear rejection. So if it's a clear rejection, it'll have more wick at the top than at the bottom. Or an expanded range candle means if you look at the previous 2 candles or 3 candles, that candle will be significantly bigger. It'll have a bigger body than the other 2 to 3 candles, right? And a bearish pin bar is obviously it has a big tail at the top and a small tail at the bottom, right? So any one of those candles. It can also be a candle where there is equal wick. It can have equal. It can be something similar to this, right? It has equal wick at the top and the bottom, and it has a fairly large body, right? Or even if it has more wick at the bottom, right? A little less wick at the top, but still has a fairly large body of a candle. That's still would be considered a tradable 30-minute bear candle, right? This is from this is there. If you want to see the screen, it's here, right here, right? If you go on my link, a link of this is there on the video at the bottom of the video. It's called the price action entry alerts. It's called price action entry alerts. If you click on that link, you'll see the examples. You'll see this, okay? And you can save it for future reference. Yeah, we're pushing down. Let's look at the 15-minute candle. Yeah, we're pushing down, but we're waiting. We're not going to take a trade based off 15-minute resistance. You see what happened here, right? Try to take if whoever took a trade based off 50-minute resistance, when price is ranging, look what happened. So you got to wait for 30 minutes because we've been ranging. We've been ranging. Now it's the 10th, it's the 11th hour, right? We've been ranging for, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 hours we've been ranging, right? Just going sideways for the last 11 hours. So you need to see 30-minute resistance form. Price can drop all the way down here before 30-minute resistance forms. That's fine. That happens. And you don't get a trade. That's absolutely okay. You just have to have certain conditions in place, and those conditions must be met for you to take a trade. Okay, so 15-minute candle has closed. We've tapped. Ooh, we've tapped this. Yeah, I'm going to take a sell here. Going to take a sell here. I'm going to take a sell here because we've tapped 3,300 with the next candle. Yeah. Yeah. I'm taking the reason because of this tap. Otherwise, I would have waited for the 30-minute candle to close. But because we tapped it again, right? Now, how much is that? 46 pips. That's fine. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, otherwise I would have waited. Now, here's the deal, right? Hmm. Tight. Should have waited for higher. That's okay. 235,582. 235, right? So, yeah, you can take sells now. This is higher the better, right? So you have about 80 pips. Here, partial positions 3289, right? Partial positions 3289. And then wait for down here. 3278. Let's put the levels here. Right, 3278. And then the Asian low, which is 3269. Yeah, 3269. Okay. The only reason I took sells is because the second 15-minute candle tapped 3,300 to push down. Okay, otherwise I would have waited. If you didn't, I would have waited for 30-minute resistance form. You should still wait for 30-minute resistance form. Now, how are you going to manage risk on this trade? Let's have a look at this. Yeah, I think 3302 is good. Yeah, 3302 is good. That's where you manage risk. Let's take a look at on the 1 hour. Support here, we have resistance here, resistance here. We have support there. Let's look at 30-minute. Yeah, support here, resistance here. Here we had a close below, immediate close above, close below, stayed below, came tapped, stayed below, closed above, stayed above, closed below, stayed below, closed above, stayed above, ranged here, and then formed support here, came close. Yeah, 3302. That's your risk management level, 3302, right? Look at the 15-minute, we form resistance right there, 3302. So we break the high, you close partials, we close above, 15-minute candle closes above, you close everything, right? That's the level for now. That's the level, that's the risk management area for now. The 1 hour candle is about to close, 2 minutes for the 1 hour candle to close. We have no news today, right? Nothing. Yeah, today there is nothing. Yeah, absolutely nothing. Yeah, there's nothing today. We're getting close to the 30 minutes to the NYSE open. I've taken sells, and that's the level to manage risk at, right? Yeah, I should have been patient and taken it up here, or been less. That's okay. Let's look at the 50-minute candles. How much volume do we have? Yeah, there is volume. Should push down. 3289, and then 3278, and then if you have more volume, 3269. 80, 190, 280. Yeah, 30 minutes, 50 seconds more for the candle to close. We should close bearish. Again, remember everything I said. 30-minute back candle, 30-minute resistance to form, and a 30-minute tradable back candle to close. Rejecting the London high, right? That's what we've been waiting for. To come down to 3278 and 3269. You can take something small off at 3289. Okay, 30-minute candle closed. We're coming down. You can take something small off, 20% off at 3289. If you get there, if you go up, you know where you're going to manage risk 3302. So we have a 30-minute resistance form, 30-minute tradable back handle has closed. We've rejected the London high. Price has done what we were expecting it to do. Now, are we going to have a pullback before we push down is the question. Or are we going to just continue down? Because we've tapped 3,300, we've tapped 3,300 with this 15-minute candle, and that's the reason I took the trade, because we've tapped it already. Okay, we're coming down to 3278. Hopefully should get there. That's where I've taken my trade. It's a little late. Would have been better here. 3,300 would have been ideal. That is why I immediately after I saw the tap, see this tap here? Yeah, when I see this, I took the trade because I didn't want to, price could have easily continued down. That's why I took the trade, right? We've been waiting. We waited what, an hour for this? Yeah, so we're coming down now. No top wick. No top wick. Whenever there is no top wick, either the current candle can come back up to create the top wick before pushing down, or if the candle moves down, the next candle can come back all the way up and then go down. So the 1 hour candle rejected that area, but that's a weak bull candle. It's still close to bull candle though. Got to keep in mind close to bull candle, not a bear candle. It would have been better if it was a bear candle, but it's close to bull candle. And we've got 3289 right here. So that is why you take something off at 3289. It can be, if you got in up here, 75, 80 pips. If you got in when price pulled back a bit, then you would have, might be about 80, 90 pips. When you get there, you take about 25% of your position off and let the rest run to 3278 and 3269, and then even 3265 if we have volume. I entered a little late. I would have, it would have been better if I got in here. Now, don't ignore 3302. Price can tap 3289. We've been ranging here for 11 hours. Price has been dancing around this area, right? Been dancing, going up, going down, dancing around 3289 for 11 hours. So the same thing can happen now. Price can tap it, go all the way back up again, right? And that is why we have 3302. And I've showed why 3302 is important very clearly from the past, right? From the left, from starting from when was this? Friday, Thursday, from Wednesday, how important 3302 is. So if you break the high, you close partials. If a 15-minute candle closes above, you close everything, right? Because whenever 15-minute candle closed above, price went deeper. You can see that 15-minute candle closed above, price went deeper. 15-minute candle closed above here, look how far price went. Obviously, you don't want to be holding, drawdown, right? Price can go right through this liquidity candle and to the next one. That is why 3302 is important. Now, the conservative stop loss is above the liquidity candle high. I've said this many times, but here, this is the level you manage risk at. So you don't end up having 150, 200 pip stop losses on your trades. That makes no sense. Yeah, this is the issue. This candle has no top wick, neither does this candle, right? So we can push back up, and that is why we have 3302. We'll get out there. Yeah, none of these candles have top wicks. This candle has no top wick. This candle has no top wick. 30-minute candle, no top wick. 30-minute candle, no top wick. 30-minute candle, no top wick. None of them have top wicks. That's why it's so important to have a level where you'll manage risk and don't let this trade go above this area in drawdown and continue to hold. If you've taken, let's say, you can close 60%. If this candle, if price comes above 3302 or taps 3302, you can close partial percent. You don't have to close everything. You can close 60, whatever percentage that you're comfortable with, right? Anything 50%, I would say 40%, 50% is good. 60% is good. 70% is also good. You can close something. And then if the candle closes, the 15-minute candle closes above it, then you close everything. That means this support resistance level is not holding. Price is going to close above and likely heading higher. A 49 pip candle, 50 pip candle, 64 pip candle, 57. There is volume. It's just that the candles have no top wicks. So when they don't, then price more often than not comes back up to grab liquidity or create a top wick, right? That happens. Now, how far it's going to come, we don't know. The price is going to come back all the way up here, go deeper, we don't know. And that is why we have a level here, 3302. 5-minute candle rejected. Again, no top wick. We've created a top wick on the 30-minute now on this candle. We have a 15-minute also top wick. See if you can push down. The 15-minute back candle needs to close below 3289 for us to come down to the London low. A 15-minute back candle needs to close below 3289 for us to come to the London low 3278. Yeah. See, why 15 minute? Because 15-minute candles couldn't close above. Look at that. It closed below, closed above, went straight up, right? When it closed below, then it came down. Closed below, came down. So if it closes below during in high volume time, which is now, NY open, NYC open, then it's likely that we're going to come down to the London low. And if a 15-minute candle closes below the London low, then it's likely we're going to come down to the Asian low, which is 3269. But it's a Monday, so don't don't overtrade today, don't over risk today. It's just the beginning of the week. Um, maybe just take one trade today, give sells just one chance, because Wednesday, Thursday, Friday are the big days. That's where you want to save your bullets for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, not not empty your magazine on a Monday. See how the 15-minute candle closes. Yeah, we have to close below. No matter what happens here, even if you have a 5-minute strong bearish candle, it really doesn't matter. A 15-minute candle needs to close below 3289. It's as straightforward as that. That's a key area. You can see how prices tapped, pushed up, tapped, pushed up, stayed below, closed above, stayed above, tapped, closed below, closed immediately back above, stayed above, and all of this support resistance level here, 3289. So it needs to close below for us to continue down. Until that happens, we're just ranging, or we're trying to push back up. Yeah, we can come up. No top wick, that's the concern. No top wick. So we can come up and then maybe close back below. It's possible. That is why you got to manage risk. As soon as you break the high, I'm managing risk. We break this 3302, I'm managing risk. Could come up to 3,300 again, 3,300.5, 3,300.7. Can come back up here and then push down. Let's see. Whatever happens, I'm managing risk at 3,302. 49. Yeah, we can come up here. Okay, I'll be back in 2 minutes. Yeah, we're pushing up. We're pushing up. We gotta be careful. Gotta manage risk. Tap 3,300 yet again. If you haven't taken sells, now is the time to take a sell and manage risk here. If you do, you'll just have a 20 pip stop loss, right? That's where if you haven't taken a trade here, haven't taken sells, now is when you should take a sell. And you need to manage risk at 3302, so you just have a 20 pip stop loss. Unlike me, where I have a 60 pip stop loss. That's if you haven't taken. If you've taken a trade already, don't add more positions. Don't over risk. It's a Monday. Don't over risk because it's Monday. 48. Yeah, come. Tap the sniper level, coming deeper. It's got to manage risk now. Yeah, it's getting close to the, yeah, it's getting close to 2 hours. It's not had any movement yet. So here's what I'm going to do. If you break the high, I'm closing everything. I'm closing everything, and that's it. Calling it a day because it's a Monday. There is no need to try to force a trade today, continue to trade, look for trades. It's just a Monday. All right. So once we break 3302, I'll close everything, and that'll also be the end of the stream. Yeah, we're pushing up. No bottom, no top wick. We're trying to push back up to create that top wick maybe, or go deeper. Yeah, if the 1 hour candle had closed bearish, then that would have been a better, more confident trade. But let's see. We've trapped, we've tapped 3,300 and the sniper level 3,300.72. As I said, if you didn't take trades down, that was the area to take a trade. 3,300 or 3,300.5 or zero point 0.7, and then your stop loss is just much tighter, like 14 pips, 12 pips, 12 pips, 14 pips. If you didn't take a trade like me down here. Like I said, for the cells to work, a 15-minute candle needs to close below 3289. A 15-minute bearish candle, not a bull candle. A 15-minute bear candle needs to close below 3289 for us to come down to the London low. Okay. I'm not going to give out any sell ideas. This is the idea. This is the sell idea. I'm not going to give out any other sell ideas or any buy ideas because it's a Monday. Let's just. I want to I want whoever's on the stream to be focused on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That's where the bulk of the trading is going to happen. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday this week. Bulk of session trading. If you're a session trader. Okay. So I've said how I'm going to manage risk on this. It's right here. There's a level 3302. That's where I manage risk. Once you break the high, I close everything. I have several trades open, not just this one here, but I have a few other accounts, trades open. Once we break the high 3302, that's where I close everything, call it a day, and be back tomorrow. Okay. So this will also be the end of the stream. We've been here for now 2 hours. Don't want to be here any longer on a Monday. We'll wait for the 30-minute candle to close. Yeah, the 30-minute candle is going to close in 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes. We'll wait for that to close. And also, we'll watch the 15-minute candle though. 15-minute candle and 30-minute candle is closing at the same time. I'll wait for that to close, and I'm going to end the stream as soon as it closes. That's the candle is going to close in 3 minutes. As soon as in 3 minutes, I'm going to end the stream, right? I've I said why we're taking sells, right? Why we're interested only in sells. I said it very clearly. I said what we're going to wait for, what are we going to look for. That was very clearly mentioned, what we're going to look for. And then when that happened, we took the trade, and I said where the TP levels are, where your safe stop loss should be, your mental safe stop loss should be above the liquidity high, above the liquidity candle high, but you're going to manage risk at 3302. Obviously, you're not going to have a 150, 200 pip stop loss. You're going to manage risk at 3302. So wherever you took your trade in here, that's your stop loss. So if you took it up here, good for you. You had a 20 pip stop loss. If you took it up here, great. You had 11 pip stop loss, right? You have 11 pip stop loss, right? So, and the levels you're waiting for is 3278 and 3269. Just take something off at 3289 because that's a key area, right? You can always have a bounce off, price can push up from there. Okay, so the candle is going to close in a couple of minutes. Soon as the candle closes, I'll end the stream. That'll be the end of the stream. I'll be back tomorrow, 7:30 a.m. EST. We'll do our prep work, and there is no news tomorrow either. So at least not in the first 2 hours of the NY Open. So we'll do our prep work and wait for a setup to see if we have a setup that we can trade in the first 2 hours of the NY Open. Okay. Um, don't over trade, don't over risk. It's a Monday. Okay. Uh, focus on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday this week. Yeah, we're still pushing up, pushing up. 30-minute candle is going to close bullish. We're forming support here. After this candle closes, I would close my trade. Yeah. Once this candle closes, if it closes a strong bull candle, I'll close my trade. Once I will, I wouldn't even wait for this candle high to break. So this high is 3,300.93, right? Yeah, I wouldn't even wait for this high to break. Once the candle closes, I'll close everything. There we go. We're pushing up. Yeah. Let's just wait for the candle to close and then close the trade. 30-minute candle is forming a strong bull candle and support is forming there. Yeah, there's, yeah, yeah, you can close everything. Okay, we formed 30-minute support and we're going to push up. We're going to create a bottom wick and then push up. All right, that's the end of the stream. See you guys tomorrow, 7:30 a.m. EST.